Chapter 901 Welcome Ceremony. When they first entered the hall, several young people immediately stood up in front of them, and first bowed respectfully to the two elders. R.A.N.W. E. Northwest, WWW. Elder Yu, Elder Ming, and the two elders. Don't worry. Newcomers have just joined the core hall and have to go through a welcome ceremony. This can't be forgotten. They repaired. The reason is not low, each of them has the peak level of the Star King level, among which there is the first refinement of the Earth King, or the second refinement of the Earth King. Their talents are amazing, but they still haven't been selected as apprentices. This time Yi Tianyun became a disciple. Those who let them watch the fun inside were so jealous. Welcome ceremony. Yi Tianyun squinted at them, as well as the disciples around him, with unkind gazes in their eyes, and more jealous gazes. He knew that his actions would definitely make people jealous, especially the human race, which made them even more unwilling and full of humiliation. After all, there are so many people in the same family, there is not even a human race. There are hundreds of people all around, except that he is a human race, basically no human race is here. No wonder the human race will be discriminated against. There are no strong people on it. How can it be saved? But in comparison, the gap is indeed not small. One by one is young, but the cultivation base is extremely against the sky. Among them, blood occupies a great advantage, and some have just been born with a spiritual king stage or higher cultivation base. This is the gap. Human race cultivators, unless they are strong cultivators, the children born will not have a high level of cultivation. At the beginning, it is lower than other races. Can you not be discriminated against? The more discriminatory they are, the less they look at them getting better or standing taller than them. I almost forgot the welcome ceremony. Yu Yanglong grabbed his messy hair, looked at him and said, as long as newcomers join the core hall, they must go through the welcome ceremony. If you do well, you will not be punished, otherwise you will be punished. Of course, if you do well, you can get extra rewards. There are basically no exceptions, so if you too want to go in, you must first have a welcome ceremony. Of course, if you are not doing well right now, you can rest outside now, and you can officially come in after the welcome ceremony. What ceremony? Yi Tianyun looking at the screaming expressions of the people in front, it is obvious that this welcome ceremony will definitely not be a simple period, and it will not be a simple welcome ceremony, a welcome ceremony of eating and drinking, it is absolutely impossible. Looking at their cheeks, I guess they can't say the word, welcome. On the contrary, they will say the word garbage. The welcome ceremony is very simple. In fact, it is to carve your name on the stone tablet and leave your name on it. Yu Yanglong said. This is the rule that the core hall has always had, unless leaving the Tianyun divine realm, or dying, the name will always be on it. As Yu Yanglong said, he pointed to the side, and there was a huge stone stele beside him. It's not so much a stele, as it is a wall, from here you can see many names. Looking around, there are at least tens of thousands of names, which means that there are tens of thousands of disciples in the core hall. However, there are tens of thousands of disciples, and only one person can persist for 10 days. This ratio is really terribly low. It seems a bit too difficult to persist for 10 days. Although there are many disciples, not all of them are in the core hall. After all, Yu Yanglong said that as long as he didn't betray the heavenly oracle god realm, or died, he would stay on it. Because of this, some cultivation bases are stronger, they are practicing outside, or they are in important positions. In theory, it is not considered a disciple of the core hall, but the person has not died, and has not rebelled against the gods, so he will stay on it. Nian Siyu, this name is the most conspicuous, in the uppermost area. Yi Tianyun carefully looked at this huge wall and found the name that could be at the top. Only Nian Siyu. The ones that are closer below are all several feet away, and none of them exist at the same level. Of course, there are also many names engraved at the bottom, all of which are scheduled. Nian Siyu, this is the creator of the previous 10-day record of God's domain baptism, a female heavenly monarch, and a role model for our women. Ji Yu Yurong's eyes are full of fanatical worship, and he admires this Nian Siyu very much. Should be regarded as an idol. Still a strong woman. Yi Tianyun was startled. He thought it would be a male who holds the record, but he did not expect it would be a female cultivator, which surprised him a bit. Little brother, this is our welcome ceremony. The method is very simple, just engrave the name on it, but not with hands or weapons, but with mental power. I heard that you persisted for 14 days, this is incredible. In that case, logically speaking, you should be able to surpass senior sister. If you don't exceed it, it would be a joke. Is naturally the brother here, his name is Zhou Runji, who looked at him with a smile and explained very kindly. Is just a jealousy and disdain passing by in my eyes. You read WW Wukanshu. Com has revealed what is inside him. Of course, with the negative level of favorability, Yi Tianyun knew that he would not have any kindness. It doesn't matter whether he is Yu Yanglong's disciple, he should be called his junior, and he should be called he just now. Sure enough, I'm not at ease. Yi Tianyun smiled. These guys just want to embarrass themselves, want to see him make a joke. If it is not better than Nian Siyu, then it proves that persisting for 14 days is also useless, and it is better to Nian Siyu. Nian Siyu and them are not of the same race, but at least they are not human. Ahem, that's almost what it means. This welcome ceremony has a standard line. If you engrave it too low, you will be punished. Yu Yanglong pointed his finger at the height of 1 foot under the wall. Office said, if you fall below this line, you will be punished. The punishment is very simple. It is to help water and take care of the elixir in the back mountain for 3 years. Of course they know these guys. Thoughts, but they didn't break through. Competition is a good thing, and they know the problem. But as long as they didn't do anything secretly, they would not care. For example, a normal challenge or something, as long as it is not a sinister villain, no one will care. If Yi Tianyun was removed secretly, it would surely make them angry. Tianyu Shenyu is extremely opposed to this situation. Once it is found out, it will be subject to capital punishment. It turns out that it's so interesting. Yi Tianyun smiled. The welcome ceremony is to engrave the name. Why is this difficult? Chapter 902 Ji Yu Yurong's efforts. I don't know junior brother and junior sister, who will come first. Zhou Runji looked at them with a smile, and wanted to see who would come first. Anyway, for him, it was mainly Yi Tianyun's achievements. Ji Yu Yurong's grades have nothing to do with him. WWW. He wanted to see if Yi Tianyun could surpass Nian Siyu's record. If it doesn't break, it would be funny. I'll do it first. Ji Yu Yurong stood up. She didn't take a shot behind, but chose to start. The purpose of her doing this is to prove herself and to make others notice her, not a transparent person. Yi Tianyun's light is so dazzling, even though she is a dazzling star, it is nothing compared to Yi Tianyun's sun. Then the younger sister will come first. Zhou Runji stood aside and motioned for her to engrave her name first. This welcoming ceremony not only tests the strength of the spirit, but also allows everyone to know what the name of the newcomer is. Saying it is a welcome ceremony is actually equivalent to a self-introduction, but this self-introduction really depends on ability to prove oneself. S name is engraved low, which means that the mental power is not good. Spiritual power is actually equal to soul strength. The stronger the mental power, the greater the benefits for cultivation, which is basically the same as the effect of talent. Especially mental power is considered the most difficult to cultivate, and most practitioners can only be regarded as just getting started. Breaks through to the level of Xingjun, is just getting started. Therefore, the welcome ceremony here is equivalent to a way to look at one's spiritual talent. Ji Yu Yurong came to the wall, stretched out her hand to cover the wall, and then slowly closed her eyes. As the body gushed out an invisible force, immediately the wall began to release a faint light. This light continued to surge upwards. At first the speed was quite fast. When it came to an area almost 1 foot high, the speed was a little bit. The child slowed down. Proved that from here, the difficulty began to increase, and the mental power could not flow upward. However, Ji Yu Yurong rushed to the passing line in one breath and continued to sprint upwards. It's just that the speed has started to become very slow, but it doesn't matter if it is slow, just climb up slowly. Climb up 1 inch, and quickly dash 1 foot high, climb to 2 feet high, and follow 3 feet. This speed is not fast or slow, just climb up like this. He quickly surpassed many disciples in the same discipline and even achieved good results. Because as you go up, the name becomes scarcer. Has the most people at the bottom, and it starts to decrease rapidly at the top. It's just that the difference is still too far compared to that of Nian Siyu, who is more than 10 meters high. It was already very difficult to climb to 30 feet, and I don't know how Nian Siyu engraved on it. But there is no need to compare with Nian Siyu, just compare with others. After climbing to more than 3 feet, the names of the surrounding areas dropped drastically, which was considered to be within 3,000, leaving more than 7,000 behind. Besides, it can continue to climb, but it didn't stop, which proves that Gu Yurong has potential. Yu Yanglong and the others looked at Gu Yurong's eyes brightly, and they seemed to be absolutely manufacturable, especially if they could continue to climb. It's just that Gu Yurong's forehead is already covered with sweat, which is enough to show that this is not an easy task. Junior sister, I suggest you engrave within your own tolerance. If you blindly rush up, engraving will be extremely difficult at that time. Zhou Runji, next to him, kindly reminded. Has nothing to say about Yi Tianyun, but there is no hostility to Gu Yurong at all, and he immediately became a normal big brother. A big brother who cares about people and takes care of people. Gu Yurong didn't speak, her energy was poured into this wall, where there was still energy to answer. She didn't follow Zhou Runji's words, she still continued to rush upwards, wanting to continue to engrave to a higher place. If you want to get good treatment, you must show yourself, especially with the two elders behind. How can she not work hard? Yi Tianyun looked at her behind her back and couldn't help but nodded. Gu Yurong worked very hard, not for expressing herself, but for the kind who wanted to prove herself. Only by proving yourself can you get better treatment. Soon this mental power continued to rush upward, and when it rushed to the area of 5 feet in one breath, it was a little difficult to get up. At this time, there were only a few hundred people left in the surrounding area, which meant that she was within 1,000 in one go. This is really not easy. At first, there are not many people who can last for more than 7 days, but the area that can reach 5 feet high is rare. At least from tens of thousands to within 1,000, this is better than many cultivators present. Is a lot of people present, but at most they can only be in the area of 3 or 4 feet high, and rushing to more than 5 feet is rare. Everyone looked at Gu Yurong's expressions, but he didn't expect to have this potential, which is impressive. Finally, she started to carve her name. There was a transparent carving knife on the wall. She started to carve the name little by little, engraving Gu Yurong's name with strokes. Is more difficult to engrave your name than to climb up. After all, you have to leave a mark on the wall, which is no less difficult than climbing up. Even so, she still carved out the name bit by bit, looking at the name one by one, she felt admiration in her heart. Soon the 3 characters, Gu Yurong, were engraved on the 5 Zhonghai area. After completion, Gu Yurong seemed to collapse on the ground, wet with sweat. You reading www.ukanshu.com seems to have just been fished out of the water. I have to say that Gu Yurong's situation is very bad. It is an overdraft situation. It is not easy to stick to this point. If you fail on the way, you have to start over again, you can imagine how difficult it is. Sister Gu, great. Yes. The level of mental power is good, it seems that the foundation is very good, began to applaud one by one when I got up, I felt that Gu Yurong was doing very well. Yes, not bad. Potential girl, please work harder, I am optimistic about you. Ming Yueching smiled slightly at Gu Yurong and praised her. Thank you for your praise. Gu Yurong stood up and bowed respectfully, her beautiful eyes full of joy. This is the result she wants. She must show her ability and prove her potential so that she can stand firmly in the core hall. Immediately, she retreated, and when she was looking at Yi Tianyun, she lightly nodded to indicate that Yi Tianyun could go to engrave. Now everyone swiped, all eyes were on him, wanting to see if he would break Nian Siyu's record. It was as high as 13 feet, which was more than 4 feet tall compared to the second place. It was simply not a level of existence. Yi Tianyun smiled slightly, isn't it just playing mental power, playing control? Who can he be afraid of than this? He is now a creator-level God pattern master. Of course, is now collectively referred to as the engraver, but it is called the first product. That being said, it is definitely higher than many of you here. Chapter 903 Yi Tianyun thinks that Nian Siyu can achieve such amazing results, to a large extent, because she herself is a very strong God pattern master. Anwen. W. Of course, he is now called a God engraver, and only those who reach the pinnacle level of the mortal creator level are qualified to be called God engravers. Is below the master engraver, it is naturally called according to the mortal domain, but the top level will not be called the creator. This is too exaggerated, not really what can be created. Mortal domain is so called, but at this level, it is possible to create powerful God patterns. Therefore, they are all called creators, in fact they are only the entry level of God's domain, and they are definitely not creators. As long as you have a strong master level, leaving deep marks on it is not a big problem. Therefore, he inferred that Nian Siyu is definitely a very strong master carving master. After all, master carving master is very powerful. If the mental power is not strong, it is easy to fail. Of course, it's also possible that people are very congenital. This kind of person is not unavailable. Some people are born with an explosive type, and they really can't compare with that kind of person. When he raised his foot and walked on the wall, the discussion behind him immediately rang. I dare you to say that he can never exceed Nian's sister. I think so too. Someone used to hold on for more than 9 days, almost nearly 10 days. The record is not it's broken, but it's infinitely close. But when it comes to engraving the name, it's a huge difference, and it's not a level at all. That's right, you can keep the name higher. Real power. Hey, maybe it's a type of strong outsider and middleman, you can't even go up to a height of 10 feet. They all think so, and think they broke the record. Nothing is a problem, leaving a name on it is the real point. They are just watching Yi Tianyun's jokes. Even if Yi Tianyun gets 3 or 4 feet in height, or more than 10 feet, it is the result of ridicule for them. As long as does not exceed Nian Siyu, he will be laughed at. There is no point in persisting for 14 days. Only this can prove the strength. This is like a talent no matter how strong, being beaten up in the competition, it cannot be said to be a super genius. Everything speaks with actual combat, rather than using certain things to measure one's ability. I don't know that these are their sour grape psychology, after all, no matter what, they are much better than them. It's just that they like to comfort themselves, the weak. I don't know how his mental power is, I think it shouldn't be bad. Yu Yanglong smiled and looked at Yi Tianyun. I just want to surpass Nian Siyu's girl, this is probably more difficult. I think so too. Being able to control 2 flames at the same time will not have any bad mental power. The problem is that the girl Nian Siyu is really too powerful, she is born with a powerful soul. Is definitely a great magic card of our heavenly oracle god realm. Ming Yueqing sighed. The two of them didn't think that Yi Tianyun would surpass Nian Siyu. They had all seen how defying Nian Siyu was, and they would never think that Yi Tianyun could surpass her. Yi Tianyun ignored their thoughts, went under the wall and looked up, and the 3 characters, Siyu, were branded on the top of the wall. Obviously the handwriting is not big, but compared with the name below, there is a sense of superiority. He drew an arc at the corner of his mouth, then stretched out his hand to cover the wall, quickly mobilizing the mental power in his brain. The whole wall trembled in an instant, his overbearing mental power seemed to turn into a flash of lightning, and he rushed up to 3 or 4 feet in one breath. The height, follow up quickly. 5 feet. In a short breath time, it easily surpassed Ji Yu Yurong's performance, and there was no slowing down, and it continued to surge upwards. Luzhong. 7 feet. Hachizhong is fast and swift. When Yi Tianyun is controlling his mental power, he can indeed feel the resistance inside, but it still stabs a piece of paper and rushes up easily. Quickly continued to rush to the 9th foot. The 10th foot. The 11th foot. Ellipsis. The 13th foot. In a short time, has reached the height equal to Nian Siyu, but only at a height that is a little higher than Nian Siyu. Immediately 3 big characters, cruel branded it hard. Yi Tianyun. Dong dong dong. The 3 big characters seem to be hardly overlaid on it, so easy and moving. The whole process is less than half a stick of incense, and it easily meets the standard. When Ji Yu Yurong engraved this name before, it took a long time to engrave her name in the 5 Zhong area. Yi Tianyun only spent less than half a stick of incense, crushing the height of Nian Siyu, and directly engraving the name on a small distance above. His limit is a little higher than Nian Siyu. Of course it couldn't be the case. Many people could see that Yi Tianyun was completely deliberate, and no one knew where his limit was, just deliberately a little higher than Nian Siyu. Everything is easy and easy to burst. Everyone was stunned, including the 2 masters. If they were replaced by them, it would definitely be much better than Yi Tianyun's performance. Running a few tens of feet would not be a problem. But under this level of cultivation, Yu reading www.uconch.cm can't do that. I said before that I would not surpass Nian Siyu, but now I surpass it easily, and I can engrave my name at a small height. Is telling everyone clearly, isn't it just trying to surpass Nian Siyu? It's very simple, then surpass her, but not too far away, so that everyone does not know what Yi Tianyun's limit is. Yi Tianyun smiled at the corners of his mouth, turned to look at them and smiled. 2 masters, I don't know how my grades are. Good, good. The two elders blushed all over, and they were all excited, even if they were beaten. They are still very excited. After all, this is their own apprentice. Isn't it good that his apprentice is stronger? After Ji Yurong saw Yi Tianyun's achievements, the heart hanging in his heart immediately relaxed. Then she shook her head and showed a wry smile. Fortunately, she was the first to go. If she went later, no one would pay attention to her, she would just stare at Yi Tianyun's name. The name is so conspicuous, a bit higher than Nian Siyu, and above all names. Zhou Runji's face was ugly. He thought he could embarrass Yi Tianyun severely, but who knew he would steal the limelight instead, and shocked all the disciples in the core hall. If the baptism of God's domain is boring, what's the name at this moment? What's the saying? Each of them was dumbfounded, and their hearts were so complicated that they didn't know what to say. Chapter 904. One by one can't get jealous of Yi Tianyun. This is already at a level against the sky. Where are they? They are all at the level of 4 or 5 feet, and the height can reach 7 or 8 feet. The distance from Yi Tianyun is really too big. I thought Yi Tianyun did not will be more than Nian Siyu, who knows how easy it is. They didn't know how long it took Nian Siyu to leave his name at such a high level. In short, Yi Tianyun took too short a time, and they didn't respond, and they had completed everything. Everything is so fast and so violent. Yes, it is quite violent. They have never seen such a violent engraving method that crushes everyone. I don't know the fellows, how is my grade? Yi Tianyun looked at Zhou Runji and the others, of course he wouldn't be stingy with slaps at this time. This is very good. Zhou Runji was embarrassed. He wanted to make it difficult for Yi Tianyun, but in the end he dug a hole for himself. Now he doesn't know what to say. Then there is nothing wrong. The welcome ceremony is over. Can we go in with the two masters? Yi Tianyun didn't bother to pay attention to him, so I might as well concentrate on doing something. Okay, let's go. The two elders smiled and walked inside with Yi Tianyun. What are you thinking about? I'm leaving. Yi Tianyun patted Ji Yurong on the shoulder and motioned for her and herself. Ji Yurong was relieved from shock, and then hesitated before choosing to follow. A group of people were left looking at each other, their eyes still staying on the huge 3 words of Yi Tianyun on the wall, and they couldn't recover for a long time. Senior brother Zhou, this kid is so high, isn't he going to step on top of our heads? A cultivator next to him said anxiously. How is it possible? Zhou Runji's eyes filled with a sullen look. I don't believe that he is fighting, and he is equally powerful. Find a time to challenge him hard, beat him up, and make him honest. What a hell, it's a human race, how can he be so strong? Yes, crush him so hard that he can't stay in the core hall. I really don't believe it. How can the race that has been at the bottom rise? This student, who has always had poor grades, suddenly became first the next day. Who can believe it? But the facts are in front of them, and they can't help but believe that they can only suppress Yi Tianyun by other means. They are not accustomed to seeing the human race riding on their head, they must find ways to deal with Yi Tianyun. All of them showed insidious expressions, and some didn't get involved. After all, some are not disgusted with the human race and belong to the established standard, while some have a good impression. There are so many races, more or less some will not exclude the human race, and some are very exclusive. In general, the majority are still excluded. While they were plotting something, the two elders brought Yi Tianyun and Ji Yurong into the hall, passed through layers of passages, and even took the teleportation array. After changing several places in a row, they finally entered to the elders' hall. The elder hall is specially built for the two elders, and is dedicated to them. Lu Yi Tianyun saw many cultivators, some from the same school, and other deacon ranks staying here. Of course, there are more than disciples in the core hall. There are also many cultivators with lower cultivation levels. They are responsible for cleaning here, or managing flowers and plants, elixir and the like. This is a planet. It is impossible that there are only a few thousand people here. There are many cultivators here, busy with many things, and the division of labor is clear. This is the hall of the elders, the handwriting is really big enough. Yi Tianyun looked up. Not that the buildings here are luxurious enough, but there is a big array here. The star power of the face was absorbed, first poured into the elder hall, and then into the other halls. Therefore, the star power in the elder hall is the strongest. The other halls are also not bad, the planet that came before it is much richer, it is like a cultivation paradise. If it is right against the 3 realms, let alone. The best practice places in the three realms are not as good as a small corner here. Especially what is provided here is star power, not spiritual power. Besides, there are a lot of dense patterns on the face, and any one of them is profound. What he encountered before he started is simply a world of difference. It's no wonder those evil spirits look down on the god patterns they have arranged. This level can only be regarded as a very general entry level here. At least the level of a third-class god engraver is required to be able to engrave. Tianyun hit this god pattern twice. The super reinforced god pattern is considered to be his mad blast. It won't hurt anymore. Unless the cultivation base is at a higher level, it is possible to destroy this place. Immediately, under the leadership of the two elders, came to the elder hall. I just went in and saw that it was divided into 3 passages, one side was very hot, the other side was very cold. There is no doubt that the passage on the left, Yu reading www.ukansu.com, must lead to the area where Yu Yanglong is located, and on the other side is the area where Ming Yueching is located. The style is quite obvious. Only the one that belonged to the normal situation, they walked through the passage through Tianyun. After entering, the inside was empty, there was nothing, but the surrounding area was extended in all directions, without knowing where to lead. Tianyun found that the area here has a stronger reinforcement pattern, and the outside is several times stronger. This is the place where we two usually discuss each other. We may discuss each other from time to time, maybe we can get some inspiration. Yu Yanglong saw that Tianyun and the others were good, so he explained. This is a martial arts field or something. Tianyun nodded. No wonder there will be so much reinforcement here. 2 heavenly monarchs fight, the power is not terrible. If you don't reinforce a few more layers here, I'm afraid this core hall will be destroyed. Almost the same thing. Yu Yanglong smiled. How do you feel now, can you start? He is already eager to try, including Ming Yu Qingyi, so I want to let Tianyun try to see if he can master their flames. Not to mention a lot, at least master a little bit to see the fit. No problem, you can start now. Tianyun didn't say anything. He had enough rest before coming, and he was full of energy. Just what we mean. Yu Yanglong smiled and said to Yu Yurong, little girl, stay and watch. If you have a little feeling for any kind of flame, we can let you give it a try and see if you can take this opportunity. Many. Thank you, elder. Yu Yurong shivered, almost crying. She got her chance, see if she can grasp it.
Chapter 905 Convergence 1. Tianyun looked at Yu Yurong, and when the latter met him, he nodded slightly and gave an encouraging look to signal her to take this opportunity. He simply fought for Yu Yurong. Seeing the girl who worked so hard, he couldn't help but want to help. The most important thing is that Yu Yurong doesn't reject him, and Yu Yanlong has helped herself, so even if he's a hand in hand. In fact, this isn't a help, it's just incidental. Can you be sure that it is Yu Yurong's ability? If you are not sure, you can only say that you are out of luck. Soon Yu Yanglong and Ming Yeking looked at him, and first Yu Yanglong said, I wonder if you want to feel the flame of who's one of us first. This must be done step by step. The 2 types of flames cannot be absorbed together, as this will easily cause problems. Although it seems that Tianyun is very experienced, they are still cautious. If Tianyun explodes, it will definitely be a big loss. Then let the master come first. Tianyun intends to give priority to Bayan Bone Fire. After all, he has an immortal fire from the beginning, and his mastery is a bit stronger. Well, let's start with my flames. Yu Yanglong gently stretched out his hand, a small flame appeared on the palm of his hand, and his face solemnly said, This is Bayan, the original fire of the bone fire. So far you can only have 3 chances to master it. If all of them fail, you will wait a few years before talking about it. The fire of the original source can be absorbed into the body, and after subduing, it will become the fire that one owns. If you throw out ordinary flames at will, it will only burn people to death, but will not grasp it. This is the most normal way to transfer flames, but the failure rate is extremely high. The highest success rate is obtained in the outside world, and it will be much easier to subdue. But Bayan Bone Fire, it's not something that you can find everywhere in the streets. Yu Yanglong spent a lot of effort when he was young and was able to obtain something. To put it bluntly, these gadgets are hard to find. By transferring the original fire in the body, but it cannot be given infinitely, it is equivalent to blood. Give the original fire once, the flame in the body will be weaker. If you give too much at once, it will be difficult to recover. 3 times is a good number of times, so the recovery time is a little bit faster, but it still takes a few years. Of course, for them, a few years is just a finger. No problem. Yi Tianyun nodded, indicating that we can start. Soon after Yu Yanglong passed the fire of the Bayan bone in his hand, let Yi Tianyun get into his body. However, Yi Tianyun was a bit rougher. An immortal fire emerged immediately, enveloping the white flame bone fire, and quickly absorbed it into his body. It was just absorbed into the body, and the sound of the system immediately rang in the ear. Ding! I found the Bayan bone fire, would you like to absorb it as your own flame? Yi Tianyun's eyes were filled with joy, and he immediately replied, absorb. Ding! Successfully obtained the Bayan bone fire. The grade is inferior to the heaven level, and the upgrade requires 3 million proficiency points. You can easily absorb all the flames for yourself, but the grade is too high if it is low. Yu Yanglong cannot transport his own flames. By then, Yi Tianyun will not know how he died, and he will definitely need to weaken a little to get through. It's so easy. Yi Tianyun narrowed his eyes. It's so easy to get such an amazing flame. Unlike the unquenchable fire, the high-grade heavenly level is already it's at the top level and can't continue to rise. What? Did it fail? After seeing Yi Tianyun's absorption, Yu Yanglong remained silent, thinking that he had failed, so he sighed, don't be discouraged, failure is normal. After all, this it is not so easy to master. I have not recruited many disciples, but there are also a few, and none of them have succeeded. Master Yu, are you talking about this? Yi Tianyun smiled and stretched out his hand. With a bare, Bayan bone fire appeared in front of him, which was much worse than Yu Yanglong's, but it was already successful. Me, you. They are incoherent, they don't know what to say, and they succeed in one go. Can they scare them? They have seen many geniuses, never I have seen such a sky-defying existence. Jiu Yurong is dumbfounded. Today is the most shocking time for her. Since her birth, she has not shocked her so many times. Now you can take turns. I have arrived at Master Ming, and see if I can continue to absorb the ghostly fire. Yi Tianyun signaled them to calm down, not to be so excited. After a long time, the two masters calmed down. After taking a deep breath with Ming Yiking, they calmed down their shock and said, that's okay. This time it's my turn. My flame is a bit more advanced than the Bayan bone fire, so the absorption difficulty will be a little bit larger. It doesn't matter if I fail. Following him, he released a ghostly devouring fire, and the cold air immediately rushed to the surroundings. The grade is the same, but the power is completely different. The devouring nether fire is indeed a bit more advanced than the Bayan bone fire. In the demon fire rankings, the Bayan bone fire ranks 8th, and the devouring nether fire ranks 7th. Therefore, the levels of flames are different. Okanshu has a great advantage when it comes to real battles, and can overwhelm the opponent's flames. Yi Tianyun is not polite. How can he let it go if he can raise his flame power level? Reaching out is just to absorb the ghostly flames, and there is also a familiar voice in his ears. Ding! Detect the nether devouring flame. Is it absorbed as my own ability? Not for the time being. Yi Tianyun did not let it become his own flame, but choosing to give up, but after giving up, it becomes an item and falls in the inventory, which means he can absorb it at will. After a while, he said, it was not successful this time. Yi Tianyun's answer made the three of them breathe a sigh of relief. If they succeed directly, they will definitely be given. Scared silly. It's okay, there is still a chance to try slowly. Ming Yiking comforted. After all, this flame is relatively difficult and not so easy to absorb. Ming Elder, are you talking in disguise that my flames are bad? Yu Yanglong was blowing his beard and staring. After all, his one was a one-time success. From a level point of view, it is indeed better than yours. Are you not convinced? Ming Yiking stepped forward unceremoniously. Okay, then do you want to try again to see whose flames are strong? Yu Yanglong said, extremely dissatisfied. Come on, whoever is afraid of who? Ming Yiking rolled up her sleeves and wanted to compete with Yu Yanglong in preparation. Ahem, two masters, the flames of this one are not bad. I guess it will increase the difficulty just after absorbing the white flame bone fire. Yi Tianyun persuaded when he gets up, this is all on purpose. If he is too strong, it is not a good thing. The performance is enough. It is time to converge a little bit. Chapter 906 Sudden situation. Under Yi Tianyun's persuasion, the two of them finally stopped quarreling, especially since what he said made sense. Just after absorbing the Bayan bone fire, and then absorbing the flames of Xuanhuan, the difficulty did increase slightly. In other words, if the nether-devouring nether fire is absorbed first, the Bayan bone fire may also fail. The two of them snorted and stopped arguing. Then, do you want to control the Bayan bone fire first, and then try to absorb my ghost-devouring ghost fire? Ming Yiking asked. This is not necessary. You can try it again now. If it fails, then I won't try it temporarily. Yi Tianyun said with a smile. This time I will definitely not fail, as long as I fail a little bit. That line. Ming Yiking once again passed the source of fire this time. After Yi Tianyun absorbed this time, he immediately absorbed it as his own ability flame. Soon there was a beautiful voice in his ears. Ding! Successfully absorbed the nether-devouring flame. Yi Tianyun immediately stretched out his hand and said, Bear, devouring nether fire just appeared in front of them. All of them are dumbfounded, and they are really successful. Although they failed once, it was not a problem at all for them, and it was also quite a powerful existence. Know how many attempts others have tried, but they all ended in failure. Yi Tianyun succeeded the second time. He still belongs to the evildoers among the evildoers. Even if he succeeds after 10 attempts, he still belongs to the genius among the geniuses. As long as you succeed, you are considered a super genius. Yi Tianyun certainly knows this truth. He just wants them to know that he can't succeed in everything at once, and he knows that he is not of that abnormal level. To show your ability, you must show it, otherwise how can you win more resources for yourself? Success, terrible, two kinds of flames will be grasped immediately. They were shocked and excited, and they didn't know what to say. Do you try to see if the two flames can be released together? Yu Yanglong found that he was about to stutter, and since he grew up, he has not been so shocked. No problem. According to them, Yi Tianyun stretched out his hand to release two kinds of flames, and soon there were two more flames in front of his eyes, one each as white inflammation fire and nether-devouring flame can be released at the same time. This is not difficult for him at all. If possible, all four flames can be displayed. But he didn't want to scare everyone, so he didn't show it. Really did it. You definitely have mastered two extreme flames of mutual restraint in history. This matter must be reported to the domain owner. Yu Yanglong and Ming Yiking are too excited. This is a super genius that is definitely worth training. How can they not report it? Yes, this must be reported. The domain owner will definitely be very happy when he knows about it. Unexpectedly, a heavenly oracle god realm will finally come out as a super genius. This time, under the battle of God realm ascent to the sky, definitely can reach the top 10. Ming Yiking said in surprise. The two of them were excited with each other, as if they saw the hope of victory. The battle of the ascending to the heavens of God's domain. Yi Tianyun squinted at the side, as if he had some information. Yes, it's the battle of ascending to the heavens of the gods. Ming Yiking looked at him and smiled and said, You just joined in. It is not clear that alcohol is in charge of the battle of fame of the gods of gods. Everything depends on let's win honor. I'll tell you in detail after this point. After all, there is still a long time. Now it's your turn to the baby girl. You've seen it all by the side. What kind of flame do you feel about it? They did not forget to give Gu Yurong a chance, especially since they are in a very good mood now. If someone compliments a few words, they will be rewarded if they are not sure. The younger generation wants to absorb the ghostly fire, mainly because the younger generation's blood is cold, and it is the ice dragon blood. Devouring the nether fire is more suitable for juniors to try. Gu Yurong said the reason for her choice, quite clear. Ice dragon blood, this is indeed the best choice for my flame. Ming Yiking squinted at her and smiled. I can give you two opportunities, so don't be too nervous. Elder Ming, are you okay? Give me two chances. It will hurt my body. Gu Yurong said hurriedly. It doesn't matter. I am very happy today, and at most it is just a little more time to recover, which is not a big problem. Ming Yiking smiled. This is actually equivalent to giving Yi Tianyun a face. They all think Jiu Yurong is Yi Tianyun's woman. In order to make her apprentice more at ease, she will definitely give a little extra. Just listen to Master Ming. Yi Tianyun signaled her not to refuse. Ming Yiking is not a fool and will know how to measure. Jiu Yurong nodded. She knew she was covered by Yi Tianyun's light. She began to accept it and tried to swallow the nether sweeping flame. The nether sweeping flame was just absorbed into her body, and her body immediately burst into a faint blue light. The blood veins in her body lit up, and the surface of her arms appeared. The blue light seemed to inspire some power. Om. Jiu Yurong closed his eyes and floated. The original fire in his body quickly rushed around his body, and the movement was much larger than that of Yi Tianyun. This is not just the blood of the ice dragon. You reading www. Ukanshu, M is the body of the ice saint at all. Ming Yiking said in shock. The body of the ice saint. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. This is a familiar physique. Isn't she Xuanhuan this physique? After a while, she firmly grasped the ghostly fire. She stretched out her hand, and the ghostly flames rose up, and the chill was pressing. At this moment, they were all shocked. Even if Yi Tianyun successfully absorbed it all at once, another person appeared today who could successfully absorb the demon fire all at once. We too got lucky today. Two masters of the existence of the demon fire. Is this going to flourish? The two of them were flushed, and under their messy hair, there was a red-S face. They are all excited. They have never been so excited before. Am I the body of an ice saint? Jiu Yurong was stunned. She hadn't understood it all the time, especially when she could display the flame. Her heart would fly out. It feels like a turnaround, completely turned over. Congratulations. Yi Tianyun smiled at her. Many, thank you. Her eyes flushed, tears poured out immediately, and she cried when she said she cried. Everything was inexplicable. Yi Tianyun was a little embarrassed suddenly, not knowing how to comfort him. Ah, your kid still doesn't comfort his own woman. You are stupefied about what you're doing here. Ming Yiking reached out and patted his shoulder. Master, have you misunderstood something? She and I are my companions along the way, not my women. Yi Tianyun said helplessly. What? Both of them were dumbfounded. It turned out that they had misunderstood. Yi Tianyun shrugged helplessly, and now he corrected it. He was too lazy to explain before, and now he has to explain. Chapter 907. Looking at their misunderstanding expressions, Yi Tianyun shrugged. Jiu Yurong, who was next to her, blushed. She didn't think about it, she didn't expect to be thought so. After wiping away the tears with the back of her hand, she felt very shy, and the atmosphere became awkward. She didn't know what to say. Ahem, no matter what, would you like to be my apprentice? Ming Yiking coughed a few times, alleviating the embarrassment. The disciple is willing. After saying that, Jiu Yurong did not hesitate to kneel down, and was very excited. She was waiting for this moment, but everything felt like a dream. There was no hope at all. Until now become Ming Yiking's apprentice immediately. This is no different from Fawang Tengda. This is an elder level figure in the oracle god's domain, far beyond what others can compare. Maybe they are not the strongest elders, but they definitely belong to the forefront elders, so there is no need to say more about the benefits of following them. Okay. Ming Yiking smiled and lifted Jiu Yurong up, reached out and turned over. A high-grade artifact appeared in her hand, and handed it to Jiu Yurong and said, "This is a meeting gift for you. There is this choice token. At the same time, there is also the choice token. Now there are two choice tokens. Elder Ming, you have accepted her as an apprentice, so he can be my apprentice at all, one for each person." Yu Yanglong said with a smile. "Get off." Ming Yiking gave him a white look, and snorted coldly. "He has the flames of both of us, so he must have my share." Soon Ming Yiking smiled. He took out a high-grade artifact and a selection token, and also handed it to Yi Tianyun and said, "This is a meeting gift for you, teacher. I originally wanted to give you a reincarnation weapon, but this requires you to get a comparison by yourself. Better, that would be more suitable for you. Yes, I will also give you a meeting gift as a teacher." Naturally, Yu Yanglong was unwilling to be left behind, and also gave him the choice token and the high-grade artifact. Random shots are top-grade artifacts. Although they are not as good as those of the reincarnation class, they are all top-grade artifacts anyway. The extremely precious top-grade artifact in the mortal domain. Just give it as you say it is, not at all mercy. After Tianyun took it, didn't he have 3 selection tokens? Jiu Yurong looked enviously beside her. The 2 masters were different and could have 2 rewards. However, she didn't have the slightest jealousy. She was quite satisfied with getting so many rewards, especially if she also got a master. If she went back to tell her family, she would definitely blow up the house. It's almost there. You have 2 selection tokens and you can try 2 opportunities. It doesn't matter if you fail once, there is a second chance. Of course, there are other uses, it's up to you. We will not give you too many decision tokens, everything must be obtained by your ability. Yu Yanglong patted him on the shoulder, and said, you can rest here. Someone will arrange accommodation for you later, and wait for our notice. After speaking, the 2 of them hurriedly left. It should be to inform the domain master. Now there are only the 2 of them in the hall. Jiu Yurong paused next to him before saying, Brother Yi, thank you for your help. If it were not for you, I would not have been able to get this opportunity. This kindness is unforgettable. If there is anything that needs me in the future, I will definitely help. Her voice is sonorous and full of deep gratitude. It's just by the way. Tianyun smiled and said, okay, let's go back and rest, and get a little familiar with these flames. He doesn't care about this kind of thing very much. From the beginning to the end, it is Jiu Yurong's own ability, which has nothing to do with him. It is too much to say that he is helping. It's just a trivial matter. After they went out, guards soon greeted them and took them back to their room. Their room was in this elders' hall. Living in the same place as the elders, the treatment is much better than the core disciples outside. The treatment is really good. No wonder everyone squeezed in. The residence alone is so amazing. Can you not want to come in? When Tianyun entered the residence, there was something inside. In the chic little courtyard, the trees planted around are not ordinary trees at all, but 6th grade spirit trees. Of course, here, it can only be called lower 6th rank. In the realm of God, it is divided into the lower 9th rank and the upper 9th rank, 2 levels. Among them, the lower 9th rank means it is in the mortal realm, and the upper 9th rank is the variety of the gods' realm. Of course, in the realm, he has never seen the lower 8th rank, or the lower 9th rank, not at all. In the 3 realms, I have seen people at the 6th or 7th rank at most, and never at the 8th rank or above. The 3 realms can't grow out, so naturally they are gone. There are 6 or 7 level spiritual trees or spiritual plants everywhere here. As for the high level elixir of God's domain, they are not here. After all, God's domain is also dominated by the following 9th ranks, and the upper 9th rank is not so easy to obtain. Even the good growth environment of God's domain does not grow randomly. Especially here is not very suitable for growth, however, the environment here is still first class. So many elixir and spirit grass are here, and placed on the mortal realm side can definitely trigger a war in the kingdom of God. There are so many elixirs and grasses casually, how can it not be exciting? Tianyun looked around and saw that there were a lot of these spirit trees, but they were of little value to him, especially since the cultivation base was relatively strong, and the experience he gained after taking them was not much. Can only be used for viewing, or increase the concentration of star power here. Tianyun randomly found a place in the room to meditate. He did not practice, but started to draw a lottery. When he was in the 3 realms before, he had 2 chances to draw a lottery. He never had time to use it. I don't know what he can draw this time. Raffle. Soon the lottery roulette appeared, and as he turned on the lucky halo, the pointer quickly stopped on the consumables. Tianyun was not disappointed. Anyway, it would certainly not be bad. Ding dong. After opening this wooden box, the transport god stone appeared in front of you. Yes, good stuff. Tianyun's eyes lit up. It is good to be able to obtain the teleportation stone, which can be used. Of course, it doesn't matter if there is none. The shops are all hanging up for sale. At most, it means spending a little more crazy value to buy. Follow him to draw a second reward. This time the pointer still points to the consumables. How to draw consumables twice in a row. Tianyun felt a little helpless. After opening the wooden box, a 100 times experience card appeared in front of him. Well, things are okay. The 2 chances are used up, and basically this lottery roulette can be discarded. What is really useful to him now is naturally the lottery roulette of God's domain. I don't know what the reward will be. Chapter 908, God's Domain Lottery Roulette. After Tianyun opened this God's Domain Lottery Roulette, it is no different from the previous lottery roulette. Most of the situations are similar. There should be there is no change in the category. At most, there is a slight change in the appearance of the roulette, such as an extra gold edge. These are not the focus of attention. The focus is on what level of things can be drawn on it. It is very possible to draw a treasure at the reincarnation level. These are all possible. Compared with this, he is more concerned about whether he can get magic skills. What will happen to God's domain level magic skills? Give me a lottery. Soon the lottery wheel spins quickly. He doesn't want to get consumables, but wants to get the magic skill level. If he can draw higher in advance, the level of magical skills is undoubtedly a great help to oneself. Looking at the spinning lottery roulette, he hasn't been so excited for a long time, hoping to draw magical skills. This lottery roulette seemed to hear his cry, and finally the lottery roulette stopped on the magic skill, the most difficult to win the magic skill, just like this. Okay. Tianyun couldn't help but yelled. His heart was very excited. He just thought about it. Whether he can really obtain the magical skills is another way. After really hitting the magic skill, he was really excited. Gulong, following a crystal box, it fell into the inventory, and the box that was contained in it had undergone tremendous changes, becoming a crystal form. This is the first change in history. It used to be a wooden box, but now it has become a crystal box. Of course, no matter what the box is, the box will not belong to him after opening it. It will disappear directly, and he selectively ignores the change in appearance. I don't know what magical skill would it be. Tianyun rubbed his palms, then opened the crystal box, and soon the magical skill appeared in front of his eyes. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the magical skill, invisibility. What? Invisibility? Tianyun is stunned. How could it be invisibility? Have you obtained it before? After he took a closer look, he found that this was indeed stealth, only a high-level stealth. Stealth, divine skill stealth, no matter if it is attacked or beaten, it will not be revealed. At level 4, it can last for 30 minutes, and the cooling time is half an hour, and it can be guaranteed that no one can recognize it within the 5th level of Tianyun. The thoroughly enhanced version quickly replaced the poor invisibility before and became the 4th level version of invisibility. Significantly strengthened the stealth level, as well as the corresponding cultivation level. Generally speaking, it is not a loss. At least he does not need to spend a lot of crazy points to upgrade. It may take a lot of crazy points to upgrade to level 4. In theory, it is not a loss, but a little disappointed. It seems that the magical skills also have repetitions, and I thought that there will be new ones. Tianyun shook his head. His excitement was like being poured down by a basin of cold water, letting his passionate vent out like that. But he didn't feel frustrated. In that case, there was nothing he could do. He could only wait for the next lottery draw. Follow him here to rectify a little bit, and sell all the unnecessary ones, or use them for alchemy or refining tools. Remove a lot of unnecessary things in order to completely clean the inventory. Especially in the previous martial arts, a lot of unnecessary things were cleaned up. All the things obtained by killing the enemy will be cleaned up. These are basically useless. The ones that are really useful here are at least those above the reincarnation level, and those below this level can be used, but afterwards, the ones that are tougher will not be enough. It's almost there. It's time to go to the decision hall to exchange for what you need. He didn't rest here for too long, and only after understanding the situation in God's domain in general, choose to leave. He just came to God's domain, and many things are not clear, but fortunately, he can get information at will. He gave an order to the guards outside and immediately brought him a lot of detailed information about God's domain. After understanding all aspects clearly, it won't be like being stunned and bumping everywhere. Immediately he got up and went to the chosen hall, where he could go through the teleportation array outside. Because he belongs to the core disciple, the transmission fee is basically not required. Normally, the transmission fee is required. Even the disciples of the heavenly oracle God's domain, using the teleportation array are costly. After all, the energy required for teleportation is not a small expense. After arriving at the chosen hall, it is not so much a hall, but a planet. Like the core hall, a planet is specially divided out as a location. There are layers inside and outside of the huge chosen hall, and there is a steady stream of people coming and going here. The cultivation base is basically at the level of Xuanhuan, and I have never seen any Holy King stage cultivation bases. These basically don't have any qualifications to come here, at least at the Star Monarch level to be qualified to come. If you don't know, you still think that so many people will choose tokens. In fact, there are several exchange methods in this chosen hall. Either it is to choose tokens, or it is exchanged with contribution. Of course, there is also the most crude exchange with currency. Reading WW, Ukanshu. The currency of God's domain is a kind of energy stone called star stone, which is similar to those spirit stones, except that it contains rich star power, which can be used to refine weapons, but the most important thing is used for cultivation. The exchange of star stones is the worst. The price is much higher than other methods, which is not very cost effective. Therefore, most of them are exchanged with contribution points, and only a few are exchanged with selective tokens. The difference between the contribution degree and the selection token is that the selection token can be given to others, but the contribution degree can only be used by oneself. In a sense, the choice token is the most valuable, that is, the price is more expensive, after all, it can be given away. After entering, the outermost hall is divided into many areas. They are weapon area, martial arts area, armor area, pill area, elixir area, etc. There are many areas, and each area has items of the corresponding level. For example, in the outermost hall, the lowest level is heaven level martial arts, artifact level weapons and the like, all have corresponding prices. Some are clearly marked, how many star stones are needed, or how much contribution. The choice token is invalid here because the choice token is used for comparison. Tianyun glanced around for a while. Many people exchanged money around here. He had no interest in this place, so he raised his foot and walked inside. When passing through this hall, the area inside is similar to the outside, but things are far different. It can be exchanged for reincarnation level martial arts, reincarnation level weapons and the like, but the price is extremely amazing. For example, a weapon of the reincarnation level requires 20 selection tokens, and he only has 3, which can't be exchanged at all. Yu Yanglong and the others asked Tianyun to come over. They didn't exchange it directly. The real purpose was to put him on the final stage. Chapter 909 has something to do with you. The selection platform is obvious. It is in the very center of the hall. There are 3 types of selection platforms at the same time. They are low, medium and high. Each level requires a selection token or corresponding contribution. Exchange. The low level requires 1 selection token, or 100 points of contribution. The intermediate level requires 2 selection tokens, or 200 points of contribution. The advanced level requires 3 selection tokens, or 300 points of contribution. 100-point contribution does not seem to be much, but it is extremely difficult to obtain. Unless more difficult tasks are completed, it is basically 1 or 2 points. It means that hundreds of 50 missions need to be completed to exchange for a decision-making opportunity. The advanced difficulty may be more than 3 or 4 points, or 5 points is the highest, so you need to complete 20 tasks before you can choose the last stage. But correspondingly, high-level difficult missions must be accompanied by many dangers, and you will die on the road if you are not sure. At this point, the Oracle God's domain will not be responsible for this at all. If the next mission dies on the way, it has nothing to do with them. Imagine that 100 points of contribution is equal to a selection token, which means that if you want to obtain the reincarnation level weapons next to it, you need 2000 points of contribution to be able to exchange it. After all, to redeem with the choice token, it takes 20 yuan to use the choice token. It's just that few people will come to exchange it directly. That's the behavior of the local tyrants. Most of them come here to choose the platform. There are 3 finalists in front of me. The low-level finalists have the largest number of people. There are thousands of people surrounded by them, and only 10 people can go up at a time, so they have to line up one by one. On the intermediate stage, the number of people is less, and there are hundreds of people waiting on the side. The person with the least advanced difficulty, it can be said that there are only dozens of people nearby. The selection table is a kind of test. Each selection table is of different difficulty. After completing the assessment, the treasure of your choice will come out. On normal difficulty, you can choose any treasure of lower grade reincarnation level. Intermediate level can choose any treasure of middle grade reincarnation level. Advanced level can choose any treasure of high grade reincarnation level. This is an extremely profitable way. With a selection token, you can choose your favorite low grade reincarnation treasure. If you know that it is something that can be exchanged for more than 20 tokens, how can you not make a lot of money? In fact, everything is fart. If it was so profitable, this decision hall would have fallen long ago. Damn, I failed again. This is the 8th time. I still failed to complete the assessment. It's too difficult. The meditating cultivator shook his whole body and woke up. His mouth began to curse. Stand up. What is your 8th time? I am the 16th time, and I have never succeeded. Then I might as well save up. I can directly exchange weapons. The other was crying, and after thinking about it for a while, he could exchange it directly. Tianyun smiled. This choice is so exciting. If you want to get treasures, you have to pay a price, and you need strong strength to get them. Otherwise, how can you choose a treasure with more than 20 tokens by giving a selection token? The Oracle God domain is not a fool. In addition to being a way to recover tokens and contribution, it is also a test of their ability. The same is true for the previous ones. The price of middle grade reincarnation level treasures is even more terrible, requiring at least 50 tokens. Now only 2 selection tokens are needed. Who is not interested? You have to try again. Who knows how to plunge into it, and then find out later that it has gone further and further. A total of dozens of tokens, or more than 780 yuan is possible. After all, this can be exchanged for contribution. It is not surprising that there can be this number. Only when they reacted, they found that they had lost a lot. No wonder Captain Gu said that it depends on their ability. Tianyun shook his head. A selection token can be exchanged for things here, but that is limited to middle grade artifacts. Top grade artifacts, there is more than that. To put it bluntly, the judging token is very valuable and limited to the judging table. Others cannot be exchanged for anything. The elders also think so. Giving him a choice token is to try 2 more primary choice tables and get a low grade reincarnation level treasure, which is already a very good thing. But there is a problem here. That is, after obtaining any level once, you cannot continue to obtain it. If you can get it all the time, wouldn't it have been trying on the primary judging stage? That day, the Oracle God realm would have suffered a loss. Therefore, you can only participate once at most. If there are more, there will be no more. Having said that, it is quite satisfying to get 3 treasures from the 3 selection platforms. Tianyun took a casual look, then lifted his foot to the 3rd place. He did not choose the primary difficulty, nor the intermediate difficulty, but directly chose the advanced difficulty. He now has 3 selection tokens, and he can directly choose the highest difficulty, but whether he can succeed is another matter. Who reading www.okanshu.com chooses the elementary difficulty steadily, he shouldn't have much problem, but the advanced difficulty is another story. It's not that he likes to challenge high levels of difficulty, but the test given by the choice platform. It depends on the cultivation base. It's not a fixed arrangement for any cultivation base to go on to confront each other. Different levels of the decision-making platform have different scopes. However, the dozens of people on the edge of advanced difficulty, each of them have the level of Earth Lord, and any one of them is much better than him. He just appeared here, and when someone discovered his existence, he immediately frowned and said, "You human race, what are you doing here? There are dozens of people here, not a human race, including intermediate difficulty." Yes, there are only a few human race cultivators sporadic, except that the elementary difficulty is slightly more, but overall it is still a minority. On the contrary, there are more other races, which is very embarrassing. "I'm here to take the test. Is there any problem?" Tianyun said calmly. When he said this, the group of people waiting for the assessment in front of him swiped and looked at him, looking up and down one by one. Some just laughed. This is the 7th or 8th level of cultivation of the star. Dare to come to advanced difficulty. Isn't this an idiot behavior? Fool, brother, I kindly persuade you, hurry back. Basic difficulty, here is a waste of choice tokens. Hey, Persuade him to do anything. If he really wants to try, let him come, and there will be no tears by the time. Hard work. Earn 300 points of contribution. That's not it. All of them looked at him with a playful expression, as if they were looking at a fool with a lot of money. What difficulty do I choose? Does it have anything to do with you? Tianyun looked at them lightly, as he was discriminating against heaven, and he was ridiculed by a group of people just now. Chapter 910 Tianyun's tone makes them feel uncomfortable. Xuanhuan. W. Question mark. Kid, you are looking for death is not. Chen Bohan eyes stunned and shot a cold light, wanting to put Tianyun through. Of course I don't want to die. I just want to say that I have to participate in this high-level difficulty. What is the problem? Tianyun did not fear him. Instead, he looked up and down this Chen Bohan, and repaired it to the level of the second refining. Follow the team leader a level. However, he is much younger than Xuanhuan. It seems that he should be a disciple of the inner temple, not the core temple. Of course, it may also be a disciple of the core temple, but it is not clear about his own affairs. His record-breaking things, I do not know whether it spread. Even if it spreads, I don't know if the looks are normal. The Terran should be enlightened by the human race. Can this kind of self-important thing be rolled back to the primary selection platform? Don't dirty the senior selection desk here. Chen Bohan angered and snarled. The people around this time have seen it all over and saw that when they confronted the Terran, they all showed signs of gloating. They don't know how to have a silly hat coming out from the side. Even if they look at it here, they will die. The most important thing is the individual family. This is the most crucial existence. As long as it is a human race, it will be drowned. Most people choose to exclude, and if you look at it, you will definitely be embarrassed. Oh, it's so powerful. Is this high-level selection platform made by you? I said that I am dirty and choose the stage. Isn't it that you have been cleaning here? If there are no 2 points, then you have the ability to choose the stage. Move back, then I promise not to take a look. Tianyun sneered. You kid, it seems that you don't want to eat and drink fine wine. You have the ability to fight with me. See the real chapter on the battlefield. Let you know thoroughly what should be said, what should not be said. If you do not take up the duel, if you are, let me hide at home, don't mess up and make trouble. Chen Bo was angry, and now he wants to slap a meal. It's just not okay to be free. The Scorpio domain is ruled and cannot be chaotic. If you want to fight, you have to go to the battlefield. If you are fighting outside, you will be driven out. Tianyun looked at him up and down, looking at him with an idiot's eyes and said, Are you an idiot? I just came here to test. I have a choice token and sin. I am an idiot, too lazy to care about you. Tianyun smashed his hand and was too lazy to have a general knowledge of him. Immediately look up at the choice of the stage, see if you can turn your own. It's a human being, it's a coward. It just looks very powerful. It seems to be just a coward. Chen Bohan angered. Tianyun looked cold and looked at him with a smile. We have repaired so many differences, do you still have a face to fight with me? If I am a refining monarch, you are willing to fight with me. Bullying is low, is it your ability to break the heavens? This Chen Bohan is a broken race, and a very good blood race. If you follow the bloodline rankings, at least you can reach the top 20, no wonder there will be such arrogance. Being questioned by Tianyun, Chen Bohan's face is hard to look at, and this is really true. The repair is so far apart. If Tianyun is the 5 refining landlord, he dares to speak to Tianyun. It is estimated that even a fart will not let go. Chen brother, it is better to suggest me like this. At this time a young man came out from the side and took a shot of Chen Bohan's shoulder. He looked at Tianyun's eyes flashing with cold light. He is not going to participate in the selection of advanced difficulty. Let him participate. It is unlikely that he will be successful. Is it better than who can persist for a long time? Who will win? Who will win? How about this? It's too difficult for the senior decision-making platform. They are all coming up with a try and test attitude. Or is it a blog? What if it succeeds? However, most of them are unlikely to succeed, and the chances of success are too low. This is the top-grade reincarnation treasure, but it is not the next-class reincarnation weapon. The difficulty of obtaining it can be imagined. This method is good. Chen Bohan looked at him and smiled. Dong brother, your proposal is very good. Of course, no one will say that we are bullying people. Anyway, even if there is a gap, anyway, the content will change according to the cultivation. Dong Feng looked at Ye Tianyun and smiled. I don't know how this proposal is, right? Is it fair for you to try? Ye Tianyun looked at them and smiled. I just came here to take the test. I am not here to quarrel with you. But it seems that you're taking advantage of me. If you say it, would you like to compare with me? Yes, if you lose, if you see us in the future, you will give me a long distance. At the same time, kneel down and call me, how? Chen Bo smiled coldly. Oh, this condition is really harsh enough. If you lose, what good can I have? Yi Tianyun smiled. I will lose. Chen Bohan laughed and looked at him with a scornful look. You think too much, I can't lose. The rules are the rules. If you lose, you should not only call me a scream, but also give me everything you have. How? Yi Tianyun passed a cold color in his eyes. If he wants to provoke himself, he must pay a little. The price is fine. Funny, what qualification do you have for me to do this kind of thing? Chen Bohan immediately became angry. He thought that he would not lose, but this condition is too harsh, and he has to give everything, but it is too bad. It is. You are not going to lose. How about the more bets? Yi Tianyun looked up and down and smiled. So, do you think you will lose? How could I lose? Chen Bohan was angered and sneered. Well, gamble, I will look forward to your kneeling and shouting. He feels that he will continue to talk about it, and the people next to him will think that they are afraid and think they will lose. This is what he is not allowed. He can only continue to scalp, and he still does not think he will lose. Repair is higher than the other party, the race is stronger than the other, why not win? Yes, I hope you have this opportunity. Yi Tianyun smiled, this IQ still wants to play with himself. Dig the pits and wait for them to jump. Immediately afterwards, some people retired, and they all showed disappointment. It was too difficult to get good treasures. It's almost now. When the two of you start, we will count the time. Dong Feng was next to him as a referee to help them calculate time. When Yi Tianyun took out the token of choice, one by one, they did not expect Yi Tianyun to come up with a choice token. Because most of them are contributed by contribution, they are the same, they are all contributions, not the choice token. Generally, taking out the choice token means what special task is completed, or what is the background. Suddenly one by one, and for Yi Tianyun's identity, could not help but think a little more.